Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Here we are, the three musketeers of music and trilogy.
Yes, we have a special guest, Gilbert Gambucci. But you're a piano player. You can't be. We're guitar players.
And that's why I'm lost.
Okay.
There's no piano here.
There's no piano here. Well, this is our, how many classes have we done now?
This is the 9th.
The 9th lecture we've been doing about music and arts. And we've invited Gilbert, because Gilbert is creating a short course about the importance of arts, a 10-hour course that I think is really important and I think you'll like a lot. So we've invited him here to talk about that at the very beginning. So, my friend?
It's very important. Just one thing to say.
Yeah.
Fabrizio, Biliotti, Richard Jones, and Gilbert Gambucci. Today we have a very international lecture, yeah? Canada, United States, and Italy. So it's a very interesting thing. Yeah. And just one thing more to say, that all the teachings and concepts that we explain in our lectures, they belong to this science, the analytical trilogy, that was developed, it has been developed by Dr. Norberto Keppe during 60 years of research. And we are talking about beauty, we are talking about art. All these principles are also explaining special courses, and Gilbert is here to speak a little bit about this. And our lecture today has a special name, Why Beauty Matters More Than Ever. Gilbert, what do you think about that?
Well, it's you guys who gave me this idea to do this course, so it's your fault.
Okay.
It's a 10-hour course, and the title, you know, rich people kind of don't believe me when I give the title. It's the arts are the cure for psychological and social problems. And people go, how can the arts cure problems like this? My psychological problems and the problems of society. And as Fabrizio said, using the science of Dr. Keppe, which I've been studying since 1984, and applying this science to the arts, we begin to perceive the real role of the arts in society that society doesn't perceive very well until today. It doesn't even come close to the revelation of what the arts really are, both in society and in our psychological lives. And so, you know, my colleagues asked me to do a course about this, and so I will. And you're invited to participate if you like.
Look, Dr. Keppe wrote in his book Sociopathology, which is the book that Gilbert bases his course on. He wrote in there that there is a really close relationship between the uglying of society and the increase, he calls it the terrifying increase, in all psychological and social problems. So uglying, that's not really even a word in English, right? That would be like the enfeamento, you could say it that way. That there's a relationship between making something ugly and the increase in problems. So if you think about that, if you're in São Paulo and you're on the way to Sala São Paulo, you'll drive through Cracolandia, and you'll see, you can feel the difference in energy the moment you leave there and go into Sala São Paulo, and you can feel like a different vibration. That has an impact on our health. You can feel that. You can walk through a place that's ugly or dangerous, and you can feel it in your skin. You know, there's not something that's theoretical. It's an actual practical experience of what happens to us.
And this contrast, Richard, is very evident because, for example, in general, we get used to this ugliness that we have around. So we get used, and what do? Well, we avoid going to these places, etc. But this example is fantastic because you really feel something, the difference between the environment, the external environment, and when you enter and you attend a concert. So this is a very tangible experience that you can have.
There have been myriads of universities who have done research on this. And there's a lot of interesting data, hundreds of researches, in fact. What happens with people who study an art form, especially music for some reason, but music and the arts? They study what happens in the actual brain. The formation of the brain becomes more developed. And I have all kinds of data on this. I found it interesting, so I researched it. And they show that people who study the arts, they learn other subjects with more facility, faster and better. They know how to solve problems better. You know, this whole front part of the brain is working better. It's connecting to the rest of the brain. It's very interesting. So why do we not have the arts for everybody if this is something fundamental for the development of our capacity to think and to feel? You know, one time I was giving a lecture and I said the arts are very important. And Dr. Keppe himself, he corrected me. He said, no, the arts are not important. They're absolutely fundamental to the human being. They're essential.
We have already said, Gilbert, in our lectures, but imagine the world without arts. Tomorrow, no music anymore, no music, no paintings, no architecture, whatever. Yeah, could you imagine the world like that?
You remember the movie The Matrix, one of the Matrix movies, Matrice, ne? They show the Zion, you know, the place that's outside the Matrix, the place that's real. And what was it? Underground, no art anywhere, dark, ugly, and they show the Matrix as being beautiful, incredible. It's a total inversion.
Yeah.
Reality is beautiful. What we try to create by ourselves, we destroy the beautiful things, and we make a mess. We make a total hell on earth. That's what we do. So this is so like fundamental. We've been talking here for 9 weeks about the importance of art, and now we have a course about that. It's wonderful, and soon a post-graduation course about that too.
About that.
So I'll be doing a master class next Wednesday evening. You can take a look to see exactly when it is, and then following, there'll be a 10-hour course about this subject.
Exactly.
And talking about reality, this is amazing, Dr. Keppe's perspective. You know, I have what I call 15 original Keppean perspectives about the arts that you will not find anywhere else. You know, and when you put them together, the vision of the arts, it becomes like a consciousness that we need. And so the question is, what is reality? Do the arts show reality, or a fantasy and an invention of the artist? And it's a subject that is absolutely necessary to look at scientifically.
And the other thing I just want to say about this, that we can have the tendency to think, well, arts is for the artists.
Yeah.
but that's not true. The aesthetic value, to be aesthetical, applies to everything. I had a friend who was an accountant one time, Gilbert, and he said he used to love to do the balance statement. What is this in Portuguese?
Balancete.
Balancete. He used to love to make the balance statement, the balancete, elegant and beautiful. He used to love it when the numbers were all like perfect, and you know, he took pleasure in making the financial statement beautiful. So art is something, aesthetics is something that we use every day. And if we learn more about this, we can apply this in our lives, in our business, in our leadership, in our families, in our relationships, and in our personal appearance, our personal expression. This is like fundamental. It's not something secondary, no.
So absolutely, Richard, because it's a little bit difficult to just understand just saying it. We have to investigate this. But aesthetics, it's an essential element to being, of the human being. And so it has to be developed. Totally. We can't leave it on the side.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is why we have a series of slides that I'd like to show.
Yes.
Also to have some participation of the viewers.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go. First of all, we have this graph of Dr. Keppe. I think it's very fundamental because it helps us to understand about the human being structure. Gilbert, would you like to say something about this graph? Because I think it's important also because this part of aesthetics and beauty is part of our essence, yeah? You see, for example, that the essence of a human being is based on what? Feelings, love, reason, truth. And our brain is working exactly like this. The feelings linked to the right brain, the reason to the left brain, together in harmony. That is the aesthetics. This is the beauty. Yeah. So beauty, aesthetics is not, as we said also in the other in our lectures, is not only just the paintings, the music, but something coming from inside everybody, inside each human being. We have these elements inside, and they manifest when we do something. So when we are we have this connection with this core, let's say, this center of our personality, of our life, we get this energy from outside. This is very healthy. This is why, for example, the contact with beauty, with aesthetics, is so fundamental, because it's a way also to charge the batteries or recharge the batteries. So, okay.
This is a great slide, Fabrizio.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. Showing the three essential elements of being: reason, feeling, and the most forgotten one, aesthetics.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's aesthetics that link the other two, link the three. It's a linking factor, aesthetics, which gives us our psychological equilibrium.
Yes, yes.
You know, the role of what is the role of aesthetics here and beauty? It gives us our psychological equilibrium. And this is very interesting to investigate and bring up examples.
Yeah.
I love the examples of the students.
Yeah.
You know, when we explain
Yeah.
something and they get it, and then they give examples.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. They get
So let's see the next slide. It's very interesting. I'd like some participation now.
it. Okay.
Because we have here.
Did you take a photo of my living room?
This is not my living room. But could be. But for
This is the
example,
result of the quarantine, I
what do
think.
you think about the result of the quarantine?
2 months of
Oh,
quarantine.
man,
Oh,
2
my
months of
God.
quarantine, and we're totally desperate.
But what do you think about this photo? And what do you think about the person that lives in such a house or apartment or whatever, yeah, that has this living room? It's interesting to think about, yeah. Thinking about the equilibrium, the balance between feeling, love, reason, and beauty aesthetics. What can we say about this picture, yeah, for example? And the next one? So you can put some comments on the chat, then
Yeah.
Felipe will read for us, and we will. Can you show the next, please, the next picture? Yeah, this is another environment. Yeah.
Yes, yes. There's
So, what do you think about this other picture?
how do you feel when you
How
look
do you
at that?
feel? There are some details in this picture that I'd like to explain afterwards, but let's see. Are there comments, Felipe, already or something? We have to wait?
They're waiting.
So you can perceive here, anyway, there is kind of harmony here. But look at the furniture. Yeah?
You know, when I look at that, Fabrizio, I look at the competence of the people who put this look together.
Yeah.
The ability to put things together. And then the ability of the people to make the furniture and to do there's like a high level of capacity. And this is what comes to me here. When somebody does something beautiful, it shows a real ability, a competence.
Yeah.
Gilbert and I like sports, and Fabrizio too. If you watch a great athlete, it's beautiful. You watch what they do, it's beautiful. It's like a beautiful expression of something.
Yeah.
Aesthetical. Paivi, okay, good. Our other artist.
Very nervous, the first person is very nervous.
In the first one, the person's very nervous, very anxious,
Yeah.
very angry, maybe frustrated,
So you see that the environment is showing the personality, what's going on inside.
reflecting something.
Reflecting
A
something.
lack of
yeah.
equilibrium,
Yeah.
which is aesthetics.
Yeah,
Connecting. The first photo for me is very uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
The first photo is very uncomfortable.
Yes, you
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable in the environment. It doesn't feel good.
So the energy also of the environment. This is very important because many people, they don't care. I say, oh, I don't care about that. But actually there are a lot of studies about that showing exactly Feng Shui and many, many other things that show exactly that broken forms, they interrupt the natural flow of energy in the environment.
Yeah.
So it's not just a mass in that environment, but it's something more, reflecting the personality of the person, of course, some unbalance, of course, but also
It's a rejection of the beauty, right? It's a
rejection of
way
the
of
beauty.
rejecting, cutting it off.
Yeah.
Absence of beauty.
Yes, Philippe.
Yes,
It
Philippe?
talks about the second one, the elegance and harmony. The second
Elegance. Can we see that picture again, Felipe?
Yes.
Elegance and harmony.
Yeah, elegance and harmony. Interesting.
How the colors harmonize, how everything is like pleasant. It kind of relaxes you. You feel this is a place I could live in, I could stay in. The other place you want to escape.
So maybe we can get used to this environment, the other environment, the messy environment, but this is something that unconsciously influences us in our lives. It's an energetic.
Yeah.
Gilbert.
You know, this the furniture here, this is eclectic.
Yes.
Each chair is different, and yet it's put in harmony.
Yeah.
Gilbert is an artist.
There's something interesting about colors. Do you know that all colors match with each other?
Yes.
It depends how you use them.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, this color doesn't match with that. They all are in harmony with each other. It depends how you use them, according to your psychological equilibrium.
I like this idea.
And then we feel that.
The second picture is beautiful. The aesthetics is so important.
Okay, the second picture is beautiful. The aesthetics is important. Yeah, it's like totally important. And if you, one of the challenges I think is that we make aesthetical things today very expensive.
Yeah.
This is a mistake, right? Aesthetics should be accessible for everybody. This is not something that only people with a lot of money can afford, can have the money to pay. This is a totally wrong idea.
Yeah.
Aesthetics should be in everything for everybody. Now we've made aesthetics an economic thing. This is an inversion.
And as Gilbert correctly stated, let's show again the picture. I love that picture.
Yeah.
But he perceived that the furniture is very eclectic, and they probably are not so expensive. Yeah, because they are different style, old furniture, etc., but not necessarily expensive. And you can have a very agreeable and pleasant, cozy environment. Yeah.
You know, the money is an excuse to be sloppy.
Yeah.
Or, you know, this reminded me of something. One time I played in a hotel in London. It was the opening of a five-star hotel, and it was very, very wealthy. There was a time I lived in London for 3 years, and I was playing in the five-star hotels, you know, the Trust House Forte hotels. Yeah? But I remember how the ambient was so cold. They had statues that they had collected from Europe, and there were paintings and carpets. But the way the thing was arranged in the hotel, it left you cold.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of money.
No.
It's a question of aesthetics, this inner equilibrium,
Yeah.
how to make things beautiful.
This is Gilbert, this is an expression of our essence. So the way you put things can be very cozy without being expensive. But you can use also beautiful elements, and this is cold because there is a kind of distance probably, no, Gilbert, from our essence, from our inner perception. Yeah?
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to pinpoint when somebody says, this abstract painting, is this valid or not? It's a little bit difficult to intellectually draw the line. It's by intuition. You know, when the thing means something beautiful to you, and then it's valid. And other abstractions leave you cold, like there's no connection to it. And then we study that, like what is the pathology of the human being that he's putting on the canvas?
Sure. And this is really important because it's not about judging art. This is good art, and it's not about that. It's an internal sensation that you have. Yes. It's internal. Maybe the intention of the artist too is important in this sense.
Yeah. Let's see the next pictures. So Tietê River today.
Well,
This is. What's your feeling? What do you think about that? Thinking that this is a river. It's still a river, I mean, today. And the next? This was Tietê River in 1926. 1926, people used to swim in the river. And
that's called a swan dive.
Swan dive, yeah.
So beautiful.
Somebody's doing a perfect swan dive into the Tietê.
Yeah, isn't it?
If you tried that today, you would disintegrate.
And probably you die or you get sick, at least, seriously sick. So, interesting the difference, yeah? Now, looking at these two pictures, what's your feeling? What are your feelings? What do you feel? Yeah? Any comment? Well, anyway, this shows also something. The human, like Dr. Keppe says, human beings are what they do. So if we have our rivers here in São Paulo, at least like that, so what does it mean? Is it progress? Is it a symbol of progress? Or let's see some comments.
What happens when we like the beautiful and we don't have the strength to change, or when we try and we came back quickly to mess?
What happens when we see the beauty, but we don't have the courage to change, the power to change? The courage to change. Yeah, that's really interesting. We see it's important, Vera, right? We see that it's important, but we don't take the steps necessary to follow what's important. This is a big corruption generally in the human being. We know what's correct, but we don't do it. And I think this is something that's really important to understand better. The human being has this enormous capacity to be good. At the same time, we have a big resistance to being good. And this is the sort of the psychosociopathological aspect we need to see. Because this internal resistance, individual resistance, is also reflected in society, right? Businesses know that they should do good work, but they try to take advantage of other people anyway, or these kinds of things that happen. The government knows that it needs to serve the people, but it ends up stealing the money. So, we know what we need to do. We have a strong base of this sanity, but we have a big attitude against that. So one of the things that arts can do, one of the important things, it does many things, but it reminds us of what the truth is. What's correct? Oh yeah, you hear a great piece of music and you go, I remember one time a friend of mine was on the way to do a lecture. He was doing a lecture about stress, and he was totally stressed out because he was a little bit late. So he was driving the car and he had to stop at a traffic light. You know what that's like when you're in a hurry. So he's sitting there like this, and a little girl walked in front of the car, and then just right in front of him, she bent down and tied her shoelace. And in that moment, he thought, oh, yeah, that's it. That's what life is. A beautiful little girl tying her shoe. He calmed down, and then, beauty, aesthetics, reminds us of the way we should be. That's the power of it. It's so important, this.
And so it's a dialectics. It shows us our choice. We have a free will anyway, and we choose. So this is an important consciousness, Vera, that you're having. That we tend to deny what we know is good for us, but we do in any kind of situations in our lives. We do at work, as Richard said, with our dear ones, etc.
And I had a thought with her comment. It shows clearly how in society today, the norm is ugliness, which is actually abnormal. But to make things beautiful tends to be the exception. Where we see beautiful things in the society, it tends to be the exception. Normally, it's like against beauty. And so you have to have a kind of like a courage or a conviction that no, this has to be beautiful. Yeah. And what is elegance? The newest generation doesn't have an idea what it is even. And elegance, it's an essential part of beauty. It's not a choice. It's something that's essential to our nature, to be elegant.
And this reminds me something, Gilbert, about narcissism, because there is a very inverted idea about this. If you're elegant, if you take care, you're narcissistic. But I remember once Dr. Claudia Pacheco brought us another example. What about the people that, for example, only wear like ragged and ripped pants or dirty clothes, that don't care?
T-shirts to the opera.
Yes. So interesting this. And she said this is also narcissism. Interesting
This
point,
is a narcissistic attitude. You only think about yourself and not the others, what the others are seeing.
So narcissism is when you don't care about the others. It's a very interesting point, I think. Yeah. Let's see the next. Okay, I think you probably recognize this is a so-called community in Brazil. Yeah, then you can observe in this picture. You can see a lot of details. Yeah, or probably the absence of nature, of plants in the middle of these buildings or this construction, and probably the absence of what? What about colors? Yeah, it's everything like gray, let's see the next picture. Look at this. Sorry, guys. But I am
sorry, man.
I am Italian.
Looks like Italy to me.
This is Italy.
That's incredible.
This is my country.
Oh, man.
But this is a very famous city that today is one of the most important center of the international jet set, so-called jet set. And this is Positano in Italy. Do you know what Positano was? A fishing
village.
Fishing village. So poor dwellings, poor houses, let's say, that were restored. They put colors, and today the owners, I don't know, unfortunately, are only very rich people, very wealthy people. Anyway,
that's the problem. I think that we make a beautiful place like this only accessible for the people who have money. We should all be living like this. We should all live in environments like this.
So, Richard, imagine, for example, that community. Go back to the picture of the community. Yes. For example, imagine, and in Brazil they have already started to do this, but starting putting colors, like decorating better, and many other things that we can do with, and it's not necessary so much money for this. So how could it be? At least more pleasant to live in, all right?
Marvelous.
So this is a way to show how aesthetics can change also the energy of the environment, yeah? Let's go to the next...
and to be just, Fabrizio, Italy is an extremely aesthetic country. There are scholars who say that 60%, some say 75% of all the art that is in the world comes from Italy. And so we have this foundation.
And Gilbert, actually, he's a kind of Italian guy because his family comes from an Italian city in the center of Italy called Gubbio. Yeah. So anyway, it's interesting. This.
And I want to be Italian.
Okay. But
Italian,
Richard, I tell you something. Maybe it can be interesting about our lecture to say my personal experience because I was born in Italy. In a beautiful city. My city is Siena. It's a medieval city. It's fantastic. But you know what? When I grew up there, I didn't perceive that beauty. I started to perceive it only when I left. I moved to Germany, and when I started to come back to Siena, I started to perceive, oh my gosh, what a beautiful city, what a beautiful country. So we tend to deny this beauty that we already have also around. So it's not that, for example, being Italian means giving value to the beauty we have. Yeah. So this is a very important thing.
But this is a great dialectic. Anglo-Saxon, Italian, Anglo-Saxon in the middle, and so it flows.
Yeah. It flows.
Okay. Aesthetics is international. It's universal.
Absolutely.
Let's go to the next. So this is a slide that we have already seen, but I'd like Gilbert to read this. No,
Gilbert, go ahead, man.
Go.
Okay. Aesthetics is a term that derives from the ancient Greek word aesthesis, meaning both perception and sensation. It generally refers to beauty and the feelings that it is capable of arousing in everyone.
Incredible, isn't it?
Arousing, waking up, stimulating in people.
So aesthetics is not only pure art, of course, but is a perception, the way we perceive the world, inside and outside. Yeah. So the way we act in our lives, when we work, when we are together with people, can be aesthetical or not. Yeah. When we are very neurotic, very anguished, anxious, etc. Yeah.
The origin of beauty comes from inside the human being. it comes from psychological life. That's the fonte. Como chama? Fonte.
The source.
That's the source. The fountain.
I have to correct a native speaker. I'm spaghetti. So, just a joke.
And then it goes to the exterior world in terms of, like, professional terms, what we call the arts.
Yeah.
But it comes from inside.
Yeah.
The next. So, Gilbert?
If a person does not have at his base a good aesthetic development, he will never manage to be balanced or even attain spirituality because he lacks sufficient feeling. This is from Dr. Keppe's book, Sociopathology.
Fantastic. Incredible. Yeah?
Yeah, this is what I was mentioning in the beginning, these studies. They study students who study an art form, and they realize that they're more capable. And they think 3 times faster.
Yeah.
You know, some researchers find that. Yeah. They learn other subjects more quickly.
Yeah.
And this is retained even in adulthood when they're no longer studying a musical instrument, for example. So this is fundamental to our lives. We have to have better contact with the arts, everyone.
I had an experience with a student. It was very interesting because he was like an IT guy, programming and using computers all the whole day. And he used to program using heavy metal music. And I asked, but can you work listening to heavy metal music? Yeah, I can concentrate very well. So are you sure about that? Okay, let's do. I want to, it's a challenge. Next week you will listen every day to classical music while you're working, and then you tell me what happens. And then the week after, he came to me and said, "Oh my God, Fabrizio, you can't imagine what happened." What? I could really go deep and concentrate, and really was an amazing experience. Now I don't want to stop listening to classical music while I'm working. So it's interesting this, because he perceived an important element. For example, this very agitated music with drums and this repetitive beat and so on gives you this sensation of energy. Actually, is like more exhausting. And he said to me that at the end of the day, he felt very exhausted. But he didn't like
make the connection. Right?
Made a connection with this. And when he started to listen to classical music, he perceived that he was more objective, more focused in what he did. So interesting. And on the other side, he could also relax more.
Good heavens, they're using Mozart music to ripen bananas in Japan. Mozart's music ripens bananas, makes them sweeter, they say. That's great evidence.
This is what we mean by a scientific perspective on the arts. And Dr. Keppe's work is really interesting for that, because it's a unification, as some of you know, of the sciences with philosophy and with spirituality. So with the science, when you apply it to any field, you get a perception that is of a greater consciousness, let's say.
Yeah.
It's another level of perception.
Okay.
Next. Now we have a TV program, Universal Man 110. So, Felipe, would you like to...
About the arts.
Porque arte e harmonia são absolutamente inseparáveis, são elementos essencialmente ligados. E a harmonia interna também depende da estética que o indivíduo tenha no seu interior ou que ele destrua, porque cada criança já nasce dotada de sentimentos profundamente artísticos e harmoniosos. É muito fácil uma criança, por exemplo, perceber que alguém está desafinando um instrumento.
Você sabe aquele Mozart, ele é austríaco, né? Ele já com 3 anos de idade, ele manifestava um grande pendor para as artes. Olha, eu fiz um esquema aqui há muito tempo, vê se dá para chegar mais perto.
Isso, para esse núcleo do esquema.
Desse núcleo aqui, dessa parte. Olha, veja a importância da arte. Aqui, por exemplo, está escrito, aqui seria o bem, né? O bem, a ética e a teologia. Aí, em seguida, a ética faz a estética. E a estética faz a arte, inclusive, né? Aqui a verdade com a estética, aqui a filosofia. ação com a arte é que é a ciência. Então, o que significa arte? É o ponto central aqui, olha. É o ponto central de tudo. Quer dizer, sem a arte, sem a ética, então não existiria teologia, filosofia, ciência, não existiria nada. Então, toda a harmonia que o indivíduo consegue na vida, todo crescimento, vem através da estética, da ética e da arte.
I was with Dr. Keppe in Spain when he made this, or at least when he showed it to us. I remember clearly, we were at a restaurant and he was showing this. And I would just like to say to students that if you're interested in this subject, it's my pleasure to pass along this knowledge of beauty and science. So we have this upcoming master class next Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock in the evening. If you're interested, just look it up and register, and you're very welcome.
You can find also more information in our YouTube video. We have some links, then you can enter and see. Yeah, to get
This is
more
our pleasure.
information.
It's our work and our pleasure.
Yeah.
Great, Gilbert. Good to have you here, man.
Oh, it was great being with you guys.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun. I hope they had as much fun as we did.
I hope so too. How many people do we have watching today? 465 people. That's excellent. That's really
2000.
yeah, okay. We're megalomaniac, but there we are.
Kind of megalomaniac.
Okay, good. So now we're going to sing a couple of songs for
Yeah,
you.
let's sing a couple of songs.
Okay.
Yeah? So,
I'm going to give you some.
Yes, thanks, Gilbert.
okay. So we have, thank you, Gilbert, for being with us. You're always welcome here, anyway.
We are going to sing a couple of songs for you, as we like to do. This is a very interesting song written by Cat Stevens, who is a very religious man. He's a Muslim, and he speaks a lot about social issues in his music. And this is one, it's a dialogue between a father and a son. So you'll hear the different parts of it as we go through, okay? So,
let's go.
yeah.
1, 2, 3.
It's not time to make a change. Just relax, take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to know. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. I was once like you are now, and I know that it's not easy to be calm when you found something going on. But take your time, think a lot. Think of everything you've got, for you will still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. How can I try to explain? When I do, he turns away again. It's always been the same old story. From the moment I could talk, I was ordered to listen. And there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go. It's not time to make a change. Just sit down, take it slowly. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much you have to go through. Find a girl, settle down. If you want, you can marry. Look at me, I am old, but I'm happy. All the times I have cried, keeping all the things I knew inside. It's hard, but it's harder to ignore it. If they were right, I'd agree. But instead, no, not me. Now there's a way, and I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go. Wasn't that an interesting dialectic between the father and son, right? This conversation is very beautiful song. Okay, now we'll do a Beatles song.
Yeah, Beatles songs, as usual. We have a very famous song by the Beatles, Ticket to Ride. So let's try.
Yeah, you can sing and dance and...
Sing and dance and sing along, whatever. Yeah, let's go.
Yep. I think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today, yeah. The girl that's driving me mad is going away. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care. Said that living with me was bringing her down, yeah. And she would never be free when I was around. Oh, she's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care. I don't know why she's riding so high. Should I think twice, should I do right by me before she gets to saying goodbye? Should I think twice, should I do right by me? I think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today, yeah. The girl that's driving me mad is going away. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care. I don't know why she's riding so high. Should I think right? Should I do right by me before she gets to saying goodbye? Should I think twice? Should I do right by me? Said that living with me was bringing her down, yeah. She would never be free when I was around. Oh, she's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care. My baby don't care. My baby don't care. My baby don't care. My baby don't care.
So, thank you everybody. Here we are.
We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye for now.